Welcome to this tutorial for Jevero for Mac. This is based on the beta version of Jevero for Mac. It's been a long time coming, and it's a bit in a long time we have it in development. What I want to show you today is the basic workflows that you can do with Jevero on the Mac, but of course this is applicable as well for Windows. So we want to familiarize ourselves with the interface of Rhino if you're not familiar with it. For Jevero, we're just gonna consider the top view. So we're gonna go for the top, double click on the little label here, and we are in top view. I'm going to use a little image I have here on the desktop. I'm gonna drag and drop my image and add it as a picture, and I'm gonna add it one-to-one here. So here we have our image added to the document. The second thing I want to do to start tracing this image is reduce the transparency for it. So I'm going to go to the object properties. Here I'm going to take the material and then increase the transparency so that we can see it, but we cannot basically move it around. So I want to lock this image so that it's easier for me to trace it. And to begin with, I'm going to use this pencil tool. The pencil tool is a pretty handy tool that we have in Jevero. I am going to take it and basically start tracing some of the stuff. I'm gonna make it very tight to the So once I started tracing some of my stuff, one thing that I want is I have traced exactly where the intersections where I want my line to end. But usually in pattern engineering, there is something that we want to do is we want to have slightly longer lines. So we can either directly trace this a little bit longer. That's option number one. Option number two is once we have these lines traced, we can select them and go in the panel, and we have here with the right click, we can extend the curves on both sides. So I'm going to right click for it. And the extension amount is going to be, let's say, 5 millimeters. And so I'm going to press done. Here it is. Now the curves are slightly longer. There they are. And this is very helpful when I'm tracing, because I can trace exactly to where my lines fall, and then I can extend easily the lines a little bit longer. Now I'm going to trace a bunch of lines, so I'm going to speed up these and make it quick, and then we're going to talk on how then we can create a interesting pattern out of this. I can use the extend curve command here, just to extend it on one side. I can easily click on it, click on the side of the curve that I want to extend, and I can just make that curve a little bit longer. One other thing that I want to show you now is I have this curve. I want to double click on it, and so what I want to do is I want to take these grabs and to create the other curve. So we have a lateral and medial curve here in this case, and to do so I'm going to use my gimbal. So I selected a bunch of points. I'm going to drag some of the points and tap on Alt on the keyboard and then I will have basically, you saw that there's a plus that appears on my, when I move the curve. So I can basically duplicate that curve exactly as it is in the same positions, but then I can easily adjust this curve now. Basically, with one click, I'm duplicating a curve, and the rest of the flow of the curve will remain the same, which is kind of neat if you have a lateral and medial kind of scenario, so that you can adjust your flow and have it right. So the next thing I want to show you here is now we're gonna start adding some of the parametric entities of Jevero, which is a little bit more the interesting part. So here we have our last feather edge, and we want to add some board lasting margin, and we want to have a margin here at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my toolbar here and click on margin create, and I'm gonna create a margin on the first. So you see I got a dialog here, and I have a new curve that appeared. I wanna flip this one, so I'm gonna flip it on the other side, and I wanna make it slightly larger until it reaches the right position. So I have 17 millimeters on this side away, and you can see that the margin goes all around to the other side. So it's 17 and 17. One thing that I often want to do when dealing with margins, and in this case for this board lasting kind of margin, I want to have it variable so that it goes from 17 say to 20. And to do so, I can easily do that. I can pick on this button here, the third button, select the point here at the end, and then tweak this one point. So I'm gonna go to 20, and I'm gonna make it smooth. And oops, I didn't pick it proper. I had the snap disabled. That makes it harder to pick it. So there it is. So I re-enabled the snap from here and the snap to point. That's kind of a help you if you can't snap it to the exact point. But you can see that now I have basically these points selected, and now the margin goes from 17 down to 20. So it does have a difference in the way that the offset is performed. So I created my margin here, and you can see now I would like to do the same for the other curve, and I can do that of course by clicking on my margin, selecting the other curve, doing the same thing. Here I select my offset point here and go down to 17, and there I have, and this is of course working. Maybe I need to fix this curve also a little bit. Doesn't look that good. And you can see that everything adapts, which is nice, and it's a thing we can do. But I want to show you maybe a different way of doing this. So let me just hide this object. So let me delete this margin. And now we have this situation where we have two curves that are very similar, and I would like to have a margin that I have on one curve to move to be the same basically on the other. I can use this tool here, move dependent object to other lines, and click the two lines, and here I have this dependency transfer thing, and this is very helpful. It's very helpful because it allows me to either move the the dependency, or it'll allow me to copy a dependency from one object to the other. And in this case, what I want to do is I want to basically take this margin and move it to the other object. So here I have my margin, I click on it, and then I can click on this second button that will allow me to copy a dependent to the other side. So you can see that now I have two margins that goes from 17 here down to 20 here. So I press OK. I can also move the objects, so I can move the dependency, but that's not what I want to do now. I want it to copy. So I press on OK, and I have again my two margins exactly as I wanted. So let me get my that back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trace a couple more lines, and then we'll see what mirror does and how to create parts. So now that I have some lines that I created, I want to first mark these two with a different sort of layer style. I'm going to use this layer here, rename it to axis. There it is, and I want to change the line type to say dash dot. And I'm gonna move this change object layer. So they changed basically, and they are now axis visually different. I like to do this for having clarity, and I want to show you with this tongue piece a little bit how to create a mirror entity in Jevero. So first off, I want to pick the object that I want to mirror, and then I'm going to click on mirror curves, and then it's asking me for selecting the mirror line. There it is, and I have now a mirrored line. And if I do the same thing with, I can also select the command first, and then I'm gonna go about selecting the objects, and then I select my mirror line, and it works in the same way. So once I have a bunch of my lines, what I want to do is I want to create a boundary and then a part with this boundary. So let's take my tongue, for example. So I'm going to go for my parent design toolbar here, and I'm going to pick on create a new boundary. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the lines sequentially that I want to be in my boundary. So there I have, the boundary is closed. It will automatically ask me if I want to add notches or smooths. At the moment I don't have any, so let's keep them out. And when I accept, I have a new boundary which is by default selected. And this, then I will go to my part panel. I can get my part panel out by right-clicking here and scrolling down to Jevero part panel, pattern parts, and then I have my part panel. And if I click on the plus, there I have create new part. I will have a small preview of my tongue, and I'm going to call this part tongue. And then I'm going to press OK. and there I have my tongue part. So now that I created my tongue part, I can easily isolate this part by double clicking on it, and it will double click and it will automatically isolate, and I can see just the generating lines, so the part that are connected to that part. So if I toggle these, I can see my mirror line, I can see the underneath lines, and I can edit these lines. For example, I don't know, I want to change this a bit. There it is. And my tongue changes. And I can show the rest of the parts just by clicking on everything, and there I have it. And I can see the rest basically of the parts. So one other thing that I want to do now is I want to create a new part, and I'm going to do this by simply doing it again and basically selecting the parts that are the lines that are a little bit connected and that serve to that part. So I still don't want to add anything, and I'm going to create a second part, and I'm going to call this vamp. And so there I have two parts. I can hide them by simply clicking on the thing. So let me get my generated line back. So I'm gonna go for show selected. Want this and this as well. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this and mirror it around this axis here, and I want to create a heel counter part. So I'm going to go for my boundary. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. And I'm going to create my heel counter. Okay. So one thing that you may want to notice, that you may want to do, is if I have parts that are, or bits and pieces that are very relevant to my shell creation, I could isolate all these things. So let me grab the thing that I want to have in my shell, and I can create a new part, which is which I'm going to call shell. And you can specify the type of part as a shell. So I will press OK, and then I can move this on top so that it is my shell part. And there I have basically, I can always go back to this part to pick my lines, and then go to the part that I want to work on, and I will bring my lines along. So I can easily move around the parts and select some stuff and bring them out. So to finish out this, let's add a couple of notches to my tongue, for example, just to show you. Wrong button, sorry. A couple of notches, a couple of rounding, just to finish off. So once I picked basically my intersection, I can choose the kind of notch that I want. So I can make it round, as we can see, it's round, or I can make it sharp, and I can choose the size. So I can increase the size, for example, to 3 by 3. And the notches will be there. So of course, if I then adapt my line, everything will follow. So the notch will be adapted, and everything will follow along. The next thing I want to show you, as I mentioned, is the rounding of these corners here. So I'm going to pick my boundary, add a rounding here and a rounding here. And then I can choose how much and how big the rounding should be. So let's make it very thick, like 5 millimeter. Here I have it very rounded around here. I can choose the difference between radius and chamfer. And of course, chamfer I can choose both both direction, 5 and 5, and for the radius I can only choose the radius of the circle, that the arc that will connect the two lines. So I'll keep on the radius and press OK, and now I have my nice and smooth tongue with my notches. If I want to export this, I can do that, of course. I have now this tongue that I created. I want to export it to a cutting machine. I want to go out and cut this piece. I could use the button over here for export data. And I can click on it and it will ask me, okay, where do you want to export it? I'm going to go for the XF. You have a number of different formats that we support. I'm going to stick to the XF, go for save. And then I will be able to choose, in this case, the parts that are visible will be automatically selected, and I can choose sort of different configuration for the export. I want to go AMA with the attributes, for example. For my cutting machine, I know this is very optimized, and we can help you with that, or you can configure by going into the configuration window and choose the different things. And here I just want to export my tongue with this configuration. Press OK, and then it will export the current version with that specific configuration. I can look at that by going to my desktop now and going to my exported Mac tutorial DXF here. Open with Rhino. Now there I have my tongue that has been exported, and there's my attributes saved in there, and there it is, basically my exported tongue. And this basically is our introduction to Jevero for the Mac. If you are familiar with Jevero for Windows, you have for sure noticed that there's basically no difference between the two applications, and the only difference is that the operating system you're working on. You can expect basically every tutorial you can find about Jevero for Windows will be applied on the Mac, and that covers it. If you have any doubt or you need help, you can check out the documentation, the reference documentation. And with that, I thank you.